Hi, I'm Patty Hodge, and this is at Dr. Nurse's Rock. Thanks for being here today. Today I'm showing you an interview that I did with Jen Triolo. Jen is my cousin who I met for the first time uh, in this video. I found her doing my hobby, which is genealogy, and I had a wonderful conversation with her. I really enjoyed it. I hope you will too. The reason I'm jumping on here in the beginning is it needs a little bit of an explanation. We tried to do our interview via Zoom and we had some glitches, so it is a little bit distracting. So Jen suggested that I do a little bit of a slideshow to show some of the things that she was doing and sort of take your eyes off that glitchiness if possible. The other thing I would like you to know is that Jen has been studying this for a very long time, textiles and plants, and she uses a special app to identify the plants that she forages, that she makes her dyes from. And so I'm doing this as a little bit of a disclaimer in the beginning here because I don't want anybody running out to some unfamiliar field and start picking things that may not be helpful or healthy for you. So nobody grab poison ivy or hemlock or anything like that. Do identify your plants before you pick them or touch them. And Jen has offered to answer questions about her process. So if you enjoy this, I would like for you to please remember to hit the like button, leave a comment, and it would be great if you subscribe too to grow the channel. I would really appreciate it. It costs nothing, and it really does more to help bring more people to the channel. So on to the interview with Jen. Enjoy. Hi, this is Patty Hodge. Welcome to at Dr. Nurse's Rock. Today I have another special guest to join us and to talk about how hobbies turning to a business and mental health all intersect. So I'd like you to meet Jen Triolo,
Hello.
special lady. Uh, I'm going to give you the full lowdown here. Jen is a cousin that I met on Facebook, and that came out of my hobby, which is genealogy. But today,
Yeah.
I would like Jen to tell us about her hobby, which became a business, and it to me is wonderful. It's about natural dyes and jewelry. And take it, Jen. Tell us who you are.
All right. Well, I'm Jen. My business name is Thready Jenny. Last name is Triolo. And yes, we're related, which is really nice. And then, so it's really nice to connect. And then I, so I've always been really big into textiles and fiber. And I've been really drawn to, like the texture and how it feels and everything and working with that. And I was studying for a while. I was always like, art was always a calling for me. I always wanted to be an artist. So for a while, I was studying sculpture. And as I was studying that, all of a sudden I discovered fiber art. I didn't even know that was like a field that you could, study or pursue. I was like, oh my gosh, there's something like textile design is a thing. So I decided to go into school and get my bachelor's of fine art degree in fiber arts. And there were so many different classes and stuff. Like I loved school. I loved being in the studio and I loved printing on fabric and getting to know just like all the dyeing and everything. So once we got into that, it immediately kind of clicked to me. Like we were using a lot of like we were masking up and using a lot of dyes that had like chemicals and stuff in it. So it immediately came to me. I just remembered my grandma practicing. Well, she would dye eggs and Easter eggs. And she would use, I remember her using onion skins and like there was cabbage and I think she used blueberries and stuff. So I think when I was younger, I'd get together with her and we'd dye, the eggs using that. So when I got into this dyeing at school, I thought right away it clicked. I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to use these chemicals. I don't want to, I want to learn more about natural dyes. And then, so I went in, I think it was I want to say it was maybe my second project that we had to present some of the dyeing and what we did with it. And I had this big, gosh, I think it was a big wall hanging that I did. And I remember I did like coffee dyes, and I remember I did something with turmeric. So I started off kind of using some of these basic dyes that I remember grandma using, and I pulled that into my work. And I was like, from then on, I just was like, that's the color I want. And that's what I want to practice. That's, I want to continue to learn about these natural dyes. And then once I started dyeing with them, I just discovered more and more. I was like, I would go out in my backyard and there would be like a flower or something. And I look it up right away, like, can you natural dye with this? And I was so surprised how much living color was out there that you could bring in, and you could, so it became a passion of mine. And I wanted to, yeah. And I started a small business. I think in the beginning, I was just making kids clothes, where I was just buying kids clothes, and I dye them with like cabbage, and I do a little cute print of a little cabbage on them, or the little tiny onesies and stuff. And then it kind of expanded into my jewelry, because I also learned it's an ancient technique. It's called coiling, and I use that in my jewelry. And I just found the coiling was really, it was almost meditative for me. I'd sit down and I'd start doing this coiling, and then I brought in like I would start dyeing the cotton and the yarn and the wool and stuff, and then I'd add that into my jewelry and coil with that. And so that kind of built up into where I am now. And I've been doing it for the past, I want to say, almost 8 years now. I've been doing it, but I just keep learning more and more about it too. And it's just become a ritual of mine and a practice of mine that I can go to. And it becomes a way of me connecting with the plants, connecting with nature, which I've always found is healing for me.
Yes.
And then also a way to just slow down, because our world is like, we're living in this fast-paced world. And I'm just like, I want to connect with the plants, and I want to find ways to just, yeah, just find that peace. So
I
for me,
connect with you on so many levels. So much of what you said
yeah,
is about what this channel is about. Okay, we talk about in the beginning of starting on Dr. Nurse's Rock was about needing a tribe. And here's your
yeah,
grandmother giving you this gift that has moved through your life. This business of ways to reduce stress and ways to take care of yourself. I mean, connecting with nature is like one of the top things to do. And
right.
so you've connected with nature, you've communicated with plants, you've used the dyes um, to bring color into your life and other people's lives, and then this whole business of connecting to ancient traditions, which is the coiling and the earrings. And so for me, everything that you're talking about is so exciting. I love your curiosity. I love that it brought you to this place. Um, and here, I really talk about things related to mental hygiene because of my history and what I did for a living, working with people with mental health issues and all of that. And so when I say to them, "Well, go take a walk and be outside in nature and find your passion and do something that makes you feel excited about life," you've got it all there.
Oh,
And
well, thank you. I
so,
don't feel like I do completely, but I'm trying to bring it full circle, you know what I mean? Because I was like,
yes.
yeah, what? Yeah. So I mean, like I said, I'm learning. It's an ongoing, process with me, and I learn something new. Honestly, it's like every day you go outside, and I learn something new about, oh, well, I can print with that plant, or why am I drawn to that plant, or why am I drawn? So, and then you kind of look it up, and I'm like, well, this is something interesting that I can bring into my work, or
Yeah, there you go.
feature.
That's
Yeah, and I love to look.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And it's very important though. Connecting with nature it's very therapeutic. And it is like, and then art is very therapeutic, so combining the two, I've always had this passion for nature, and I'm just like combining that, like my love for textiles and then my love for nature, and combining the two. It really is. It's like it does. It just brings me so much joy. And then,
Oh, you bring me
yeah.
joy too because I look at your Facebook posts of the beautiful earrings and jewelry that you make, and I'm really so connected to the idea of using natural dyes and the beautiful colors that nature has to offer to us. And what that does, it calms you down. It helps people with in ways that they don't even realize, I think, that it reduces stress and it reduces your risk of diseases when your stress is lower. Um, it
Yeah.
helps improve your memory and your concentration and your creativity. It does everything for your soul. And it also, when you're outside and exploring in nature, it helps your sleep quality in so many ways that it keeps you healthy. And Jen, talk to me a little bit about what really interests you about your dyeing process with the things that you've learned over time.
Yeah, so indigo is one that sticks out that there's a lot of ancient practices with indigo. And I was reading recently, just the color, it's like when you look at the color indigo, it's instantly for me and hopefully for other people too, it's like instantly a calming color. And dyeing with it too, it's such an interesting process. Like you have a vat, it's a vat dye, and you actually put it in, and when you first take it out, it's this beautiful green, and then it changes into this blue, and it's honestly, it's like it's a magical color, you know.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of history with indigo, and I was reading that it like cools, it's supposed to like cool the skin and balancing with the heat. So that one I kind of was like, I'm just like, okay, there's all these healing properties with indigo. And marigold was another one that came up that's supposed to calm inflammation. And it's a very like vibrant color. Turmeric also is another one. I saw somewhere some people were making they make natural dyed sheets with like marigold and indigo and the color and the healing properties in it. So that I'm still learning about all that too, but even just like working with it,
Yes.
like we bring it when I bring it in, so I go out and a lot of these plants I'll go out and I'll forage like the black walnut dye. Berries are very like elderberry. I go out and I forage and I dye with that too. And elderberry has a lot of healing properties as well. Um, Berries it's called fugitive, so they tend to shift. The color doesn't last. It's ever changing. You know what I mean? It will
Right.
kind of fade. But I also find that to be so beautiful because I love the term saying it's living color. It's
Yes.
changing, so that's really cool. Um, and then there's so many out there. It's called madder, which actually comes from a tree. Or wait, no, I want to say that's logwood is purple and that comes from a tree. Madder root, I want to say, is in the coffee family. And there's just so many out there. Um, pomegranate is another one that I've been
Yeah,
using.
beautiful.
There's food, and then that's the other, like there's food waste dyes, so there's ways that you can compost. Onion skids are one of my favorites. And you can change the color so many ways by adding, it's called mortonine. You can add, so there's mortonine that you can, alum is one that I use a lot, and that will like really bring out like a bright color in your work. Iron is something, if you add it to it, it's going to mute your color. Um, and there's baking soda you can add. So it's really fun to just play around with like all the different types of colors you
It
can
sounds
get
like a
too.
science lab to me. I'm a
It
science.
is. There's a
Yeah.
lot of chemistry. And then I could go on and on about this. Then there's mushroom dyes, which I was just like, oh, mushroom dyes, because I'm a big forager when it comes to mushrooms. I was like, oh my gosh, this is a whole new avenue. This is a whole new avenue to go, or a whole new route to take. So then there's mushroom dyeing, yeah. And I'm this fall, gosh, I want to say it comes out here in Wisconsin, like September. It's called the lobster mushroom. You can get this beautiful pinks and reds with it, and you can eat it. So it's just like, and the mushrooms too, they have healing properties. And
Yes,
yeah,
yeah.
so yeah, I love bringing that. Yeah, I love exploring that. And what I was wanting to do eventually at some point is I'd love to have some sort of gathering where we go out, we forage the plant, we forage we go out, we forage something, we bring it in, we either like cook with it, you know what I mean? We make a dye with it, but then we
Yes.
also, well, what else can we make tea with this? Can we sit and enjoy it? And um, yeah, like nettles or something that I was dying with, and I was like, I made a soup with it, because nettles were very new. There's a lot of nutrients in nettles, and I actually was getting like fiber from the nettle. I was dyeing with the nettle, and then I was making tea with it, and then I was also making soup with it. So I was like, oh, this is great.
Wow.
And then there's just that feeling too when you have that connection,
It
with,
sounds like a perfect retreat,
yeah,
actually.
it
Maybe I think the first video and the previous video to this one was with my friend Steven, who he instantly came to mind when you were talking. I thought, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to collect all my guests and we'll have to have a special retreat somewhere where everybody
yeah,
can
yeah. Wouldn't
can
that be
do their
wonderful?
thing.
Yeah.
That would be great, and maybe it would help grow the channel here too. That people would we could do
Yeah.
some recording of
Yeah.
what's going on and have people share our experience on YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is it's a beautiful thing that you're doing, and I think that you're just bringing color into the world, and um, the artwork of your jewelry is kind of amazing. So maybe if you can send me some still pictures, I can maybe edit them
Yeah.
into this. That would be great.
That
Um,
would be fun. Yeah,
yeah,
I can
that
do
would be
that.
a first for this channel too, because I've told my subscribers that I'm really new to this and I'm learning how to do all the equipment and how to make,
Yeah.
stuff go on here. So
And yeah,
um,
I'll send you a couple pictures. Yeah.
I would love that. So in all of this, what I feel is excited. I feel excited that someone loves color as much as you do, that you love nature, that it comes across in the work that you're doing, and the fact that this started out as a hobby and things that made you curious, and it came out of this lovely thing that your grandmother did with you when you were a child.
Right.
And that brings me right back to childhood too, because I also dyed eggs with my parents, so I remember that process. My father loved to do those things. Um,
Yeah.
and I remember my daughter in dance class, she had to have a certain shade of something on her shoes, and the teacher said, well, just dye them in tea water. And so I have some
Yeah.
experience of this dyeing piece, not as far as you have gone with it, but I understand that it's relaxing and it's
It is.
enjoyable.
Yeah.
And my era was tie-dye shirts, back in the day.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
know that these things are things that people can do. You can walk out into your backyard and pull some, or if you're not any place where there's
Pull
greenery,
in some paint. You're like, wait
yeah,
a minute. What does this yeah.
brush it up and see what happens when you try to use it with
Right.
fabrics and things.
Yeah.
So, Jen, I'm very pleased that we got some time together today, and hopefully, my followers will find a way to communicate what they enjoyed about this. And
Yeah.
I ask people to tell us what more they would like to know, what helps them, what more they would
Right.
like to know. So if there are questions, I'll ask them to put them in the comments. And if they like this particular video, to definitely give us a thumbs up and leave a comment and help promote the channel because it costs nothing to hit the subscribe button.
Okay.
And
Good to know.
there's
Yeah.
no obligation. I'm not coming after you for anything. So, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a question for Jen, leave a comment about or a question about how is this done or how does this help mental health? Or, wow, yeah, I do that and I love it because it relaxes me. Or, give us an experience and we'll go from there. And maybe, Jen, you and I can do this again.
Yeah.
And
That'd be great.
yeah, and we can
Yeah,
think
next
about
time you're going for a walk, look out at and see your plants. And
that's
I
it.
always use, well, I always use an app too when I'm out. It's an app and I love it. It's called Seek. And I'll
Okay.
bring that with me on my walk. And if I don't know like a certain plant, it's very nice. It's like you take the app out and you put it up to the plant and then it identifies the plant for you. So then you kind of know, oh, okay, well then I'm going to look this up. And then, there's just, it really does like, there's a whole, when you go outside, it's just like, I'm shocked with all the medicals, like just like properties that these plants have too.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I did a video, or a shorter video here in the beginning of the year when I started the channel. Um, I got sick. That first time that I tried to post something, I wound up with a terrible cold. And I did something on chicken soup and talked about all the herbs and spices that go in it. And one of my followers, one of the subscribers said, I didn't realize that spices and herbs had healing properties. And that to me was a shock because here I am a nurse and I know that. I'm always surprised at what people don't know, right?
And
So
you're Italian. You're like, herbs all the time. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Like, well,
and the garlic
yeah.
and
No,
the yeah.
where people are like, what? You're putting basil in there? You're putting oregano in there? I'm like, yeah, never really? It's just like a shock to me. Yeah. Well, we could cook like this forever. Yeah.
That's right. So
Yeah.
so maybe one of these days we can cook together. I mean, I'm not in
Yeah.
Wisconsin. I'm in Georgia, but we have
During
these.
it, yeah, during our retreat.
Yes. I'm actually going to
Yeah.
tap into a few people and see how possible that could be and where that could be. And I think that would be amazing. So I'm just going to put that on the back burner and let you know.
Well, I would love that. Yeah. And yeah, that would be a great way to like reconnecting and yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So I'm going to
yeah.
say thank you to you, Jen Triolo, Triolo. That's an ancestor's name of mine. We share a
Yeah.
great grandmother and
Oh, I love
grandfather, and I know them. I met them. I'm not my great grandfather. He passed long before I was born, but my great grandmother was the matriarch of the family, Nonna
Mona.
Francesca Triolo. Frances
Okay.
was her Americanized name, and she was the sweetest woman. My grandmother was her daughter. My mother, um, obviously, was your father was her first cousin. My mom was an only child, so all of my mom's cousins, aunts, and uncles became my aunt and uncle, no matter what they actually were on the tree,
Right. Right.
because they were all older. So everybody became aunt or uncle.
Yeah.
So any questions that you have about your family on that side, you can ask me, and
Okay. Good. Yeah.
I'll let people know that where they can find your jewelry, where they can find your Facebook page,
Okay,
where they can
awesome.
find your
Thank you.
Instagram, where
Yeah.
so any last words for us that you'd like to share?
I just appreciate, yeah, I appreciate this that you and I can like connect and that, yeah, you're trying, bringing in other people too is really nice. So I appreciate you being here and doing
Oh,
this.
that's
Really
very
nice.
sweet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So thank you, cousin.
Yeah. Thank you.
This is our first meeting for
This is
viewers.
really nice.
So
Yeah.
it was very nice. And
Yeah.
I will sign off now and I'll ask people to remember to subscribe and like this video and let us know what questions you have for Jen. Take
Great.
care now. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye bye.